don't know how much of this I'm allowed to share, but I guess there's only one way to find out. My dog's chewing on a bone if you're wondering what the noise is, but basically I work in the federal government in a office that I'm trying to not give too much away, that like is handling a lot of the executive orders. And
oh, which side are you on? Which side are you on? Tell me, which side are you on? Which side are you on? We'll fight against DOGE. We'll fight Elon Musk. No Elon's kept within our walls. We'll fight from dawn to dusk. Oh, which side are you on?
Sometimes when I see them like this, acting this drama, when you take a look at this, a federal judge just ruled that President Trump has the authority to freeze and limit some federal funding. According to Fox News, the government can limit access to federal funds on the basis of the applicable authorizing statutes, regulations, and terms. Then, that the previous order does not bar both the president and much of the federal government from exercising their own lawful authorities to withhold funding without the approval of the district court. This is a major court win for this administration. It is good to see not every judge is a Democrat propaganda shield. You saw what these guys did. I don't know why they continue to freak out, singing crazy songs like what you just saw, now going back into Elon Musk.
So clarifying that the government can limit access to federal funds on the basis of the applicable authorizing statutes, regulations, and terms. Essentially, yes, the government can do so in complying with regulations, and then that the previous order does not bar both the president and much of the federal government from exercising their own lawful authorities to withhold funding without the prior approval of the district court, meaning, again, they can disperse the monies that they were allocated within the law, within the confines of the law, and that the government does not have to seek pre-clearance from the courts on terminating funding as long as they have the authority to do it, as governed by the applicable statutory, regulatory, or grant terms. So essentially, the court is confirming what the Trump administration has maintained and what common sense can project, which is that within the confines of regulatory and normal authority, of course, you can do what you want with your own money, and you don't need a court's approval to do so.
Yep, that's...
Here's what I think is a joke. That you have these partisan hack Democrat attorney generals. They get together, and the only thing they know how to do is try to nullify the results of the last election by venue shopping these district court judges. They find the most lunatic liberals they can. They file lawsuits knowing full well they're going to try to usurp the president's authority, tie this up in court for years.
That stuff is sacrosanct. And you've got people going in there who don't know anything about that system.
But these are also just restraining orders.
Doing this.
They're
he knows
asking
nothing about it.
What you just said is so profound. You said these people don't know anything and they don't know what they're doing.
That's right.
But they're appointees.
But Elon Musk.
I understand. But they are appointees of the duly elected president. So your view, you're here as our legal expert, but your view is because you don't personally believe they know enough that the duly elected president, who appointed a Treasury Secretary and who appoints special appointees like Elon Musk, shouldn't be able to act as the president because you don't personally believe they know enough?
Well, they
is
certainly
that how it works?
No.
Or do elections mean anything to you?
Well, it's got nothing to do with elections.
Of course,
the fact
exactly
of the matter is, there is a law.
The truth was told.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Couple things. Number one, you guys are way out over your skis with accusations and innuendo. You have no way. I mean, what you're essentially alleging would be the biggest corruption in any of our lifetimes. You have no way in the world of making those accusations in a credible way, but yet you're out here doing it, number one. Number two, on the Treasury Department.
I just to clarify, because I also think you're accusing me of saying that these things are happening. I'm just saying.
No, did you hear what they just said?
They literally just accused Elon Musk of the
biggest corruption we've ever seen.
Hold
on, Bakari. Scott, what I said was that Elon Musk's companies were being investigated by the government. The people investigating him have been fired. Their offices disbanded. Those are both facts. So the question is, how do we know that Elon is not benefiting from it? And the answer is we don't know.
But if you're going to accuse me of that, please, Scott, tell me what I said that was incorrect.
You just said that Elon Musk is working at the behest of the president in what would amount to the biggest corruption scheme to enrich himself.
What did I say that was incorrect?
We've ever seen. And I think you're out over your skis.
Was he under investigation by the FAA?
I think you guys are over.
Was he under investigation by?
Before you blanket you guys, I made it very clear, based on images and data and the transparency that we have, that USAID's resources that have been halted in place are resulting in massive waste.
And why? Because Marco Rubio issued a waiver. He issued a waiver on the first day for all humanitarian and medicine. So why aren't they delivering it? Whose fault is it? He issued a waiver.
It was surreal, but I got to tell you, I know what you're not showing here. Musk gave 7 specific examples off the top of his head of where the corruption and fraud were. I know you didn't play the clips. He was talking about a contractor that had a 3-month contract. He was paid for 20 years. He was talking about welfare benefits that were being paid to someone that was technically 150 years old. He was talking about line items in the Treasury that had no justification.
There's no he doesn't present any actual evidence.
Well, he's standing there in the Oval Office. Do you expect him to come in with 10,000 pages? And I have to be clear, to complain about this administration about transparency, when this president takes open questions on a daily basis, yet Joe Biden didn't show up for a press conference this 6 months, is insane.
I just love the whole this segment. I don't usually watch CNN, but the whole this video is on point. Sonia is saying the truth. Biden was not taking questions, and this same CNN, this same journalist used to stand up and show they will protect him like there's a lot of transparency. Trump take questions. He doesn't even select. Now, allowing Elon Musk to answer questions pertaining to what they have been doing, they are still upset about that. What transparency do you want? I really want to know. Because to me, this is transparency. Whatever thing Democrats are struggling to pull, I don't get it. I understand they always struggle to push their propaganda in such a way that...
Who was the one standing, taking most of the questions, having the president in this odd, jarring setting, looking up to him? Well, it was Elon. This was Musk's first press conference since Trump's election, and he took over. Trump literally, in all these images, kind of looked like he'd been pushed off to the side because Elon was the center of it. I mean, at times, Trump seemed annoyed. I mean, it wasn't just that Musk dominated. He did speak for about 20 of the 32 minutes. So about 63.5% if you're counting of the time. It was that Musk physically owned the entire event. He and his child were the center of the attention.
Yes, I understand. You don't watch the view, but there is something very important I want you to see, because when I post videos about these people complain, oh, why are you putting this cackle in the view? Yeah, but sometimes we need to do that. Whoopi Goldberg claims that no one elected Elon Musk campaigned with Trump since August, and Trump was completely transparent that Musk would serve as an advisor for making the government more efficient. These same people mocked him. Who is Elon Musk? Oh, this. Now, when Elon Musk started his work, they are frightened by it. That is the funniest part I've seen with Libras. The kind of hypocrisy. Some they pull off, and they even went further to mock Elon Musk's son. I think I did a video about what actually happened at the White House. Some liberal media came out to say, oh, Trump was just sitting one side. Oh, Elon Musk acted as the president. Oh, he was so... I saw all types of reactions pertaining to that, but I'm used to with all this propaganda they put out. So when I see things like this, I don't even bother because I know the gymnastics.
For 2 weeks, we heard this idea that they spent $50 million on condoms in Gaza. Right. It's not even Gaza in the Middle East. It's Gaza in Mozambique. They didn't even know that.
And the number was wrong, too.
And then he goes on, Elon Musk goes on and said, well, I made a mistake. Meanwhile, you perpetuated the lie for the past 2 weeks, just like they did about these Haitians eating cats and dogs. Lies, and more lies, and then it goes out there.
I'm going to say, you want to cut something? Cut some of the stuff you're taking out. Because, I get that there's fat everywhere, and yes, we'd all like to see less of it. But what you're doing is a lot more than just cutting fat. You're giving people information that they should not have because they're not the people whose information it is.
What is really rich to me, again, is that he is not elected, and he is talking about our American democracy. A man who grew up in South Africa during the apartheid era benefited from apartheid. And apartheid is the very antithesis to our American democracy, because in South Africa today, there is, 81% of South Africans' population are black Africans. Yet only 4% of those black Africans own the land. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is the person that's supposed to be teaching us about democracy.
Well, and the main thing he leaned into was he kept saying, this is all public record.
Yes, you might be wondering why she is bringing up this topic about South Africa. Recently, Trump sanctioned South Africa because of this, because they are taking away lands from white people. It is crazy. They recently passed a bill, and I think I'm going to do a full segment about this so you can see exactly what is happening. Elon Musk has been, really against what is happening in South Africa. They will say, oh, they should take away, they should cut, they should do this to white people. I have seen politicians in this location doing that. It should not be happening in 2025. That is gross. Let me not even mention it on this video. Thank you guys for always being sharing out my videos. I don't want to make it long. If you see clips behind here, this is for the algorithm. Someone asked me, is it helping your channel? Yes, it is helping the channel. If it was not helping, I would not put.
Mind-boggling that he would be shutting down PEPFAR.
A bully and a thug who's the president of the United States, U.S., it's everywhere.
There is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse within a system.
Audits. A chance to see what happens when you take a business approach to the government in the White House. We're seeing right now with this whole USAID thing, where they're uncovering massive amounts of corruption.
And also, I got to say,
don't you agree?
I totally agree.
Essential.
Early on, immediately.
She's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
To her.
No, the EU does not treat the U.S. fairly on trade, and that he has some big complaints. Is that true?
Right? And it doesn't mean that we should sit and pretend that it's suddenly okay, that this new presidency is just going to keep on keeping on. That is not the case. And
awful things have happened. So
and sparks move things. And it doesn't matter how much water you have.
Future president and his gag
are quality and policy.
The city of the Pacific Palisades is burning. And, I flew here last night. I was on a plane.
You getting water to areas that need.
He's been trained his whole life to do. What do we do?
Right now you're looking straight. Remember it.
As a country about January.
Yeah, and then I think all our tax dollars probably went for Gavin's hair gel. I don't know.
Jim Jordan.
Josh Green, the governor.
Watch the news or talk.
Now look, I have a lot of.
The Democratic Party has about everything.
The next department that appears to be on the chopping block is the Department of Education. Just earlier today,
There's a meme going.